I'm not going to overreact to the age thing, especially when our timeline is shorter than most, right? If this was a 10-year build, yeah, we would have a problem with 37 and 39 and 40-year-olds, but we're trying to win this year. That's our commitment. And so most important thing for me on that is the players, how good they are.
Mike Dunleavy joining us on 95.7 The Game, general manager of the Golden State Warriors. Mike, I'm interested. You're at the start of a season, and I'm wondering, do you guys as a staff and as a front office come up with a theme or bullet points or things you're going to stress over the course of the season, or is it just you go out and you play and you do what Steve wants, and then you kind of wing it from there?
Yeah, I mean, I think every team's different. So you have different maybe challenges and goals going into the season. I think for us this year, it's pretty clear cut, right? I mean, we want to be in the mix at the end, similar to where we were last year until Steph hurt his hamstring. We want to give these guys a shot. And I think we've done that over the course of the offseason with the moves we made, as well as the internal improvements from some of our younger players. So I don't know if that's a theme or an idea or something to live by, but that's the thing we'll be focusing on this year.
Yeah, Mike, I'm excited, and you mentioned it. I wasn't. Last year I hadn't got over it because I felt like, and I told Steiny and anybody that would listen, man, if Curry could have, held up in that series, who knows what we're talking about. But you put this year's team together, and when you hear a lot about the ages of Steph, Dre, and Jimmy, and then you bring in Al, how do you process that? Is that even a big deal? How do you compute that people are making kind of a big deal because it's a young guys league?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of these young guys are getting hurt, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, so I wouldn't go off of, I'm not going to overreact to the age thing, especially when our timeline is shorter than most, right? Like if this was a 10-year build, yeah, we would have a problem with 37 and 39 and 40-year-olds, but we're trying to win this year. And that's our commitment. And so the most important thing for me on that is the players, how good they are. And those guys, as far as I know, can still play. And that's the most important thing. And do we have to monitor throughout the season their minutes and all that because of their age? Sure. But everybody's doing that across the league. There's very few guys that you can just let loose and, hey, you're playing all 82, every single back-to-back, the whole thing. So it's something we're used to. And main thing is we feel like we've got a really good team. They complement each other. It'll be a good group, and we'll see where we land.
Obviously, Jonathan was a big part of the offseason. You guys got him signed a week or so ago. I don't want to rehash anything that's happened because it's in the past. But what I am curious about is, how are you guys is there any way to avoid him, not necessarily him, but it being a distraction? In this league, you guys will go to L.A. and the writers will ask about him there. And for whatever reason, he's an important player to this fan base. And we talk about him a whole heck of a lot for whatever reason. But, is there any way to just get it to basketball once this season starts?
Yeah, I think that'll happen. It's just, this is the nature of the business, especially in the off season. You got to cover news, cover things that are going on. But once camp starts and you jump into basketball, that's what our guys are focused on. Of course, there's going to be things that come up in the season, rumors and all those things, and the players have to deal with that. So I think it's impossible to go through a season without distraction and things like that. But I don't see the JK stuff from what's happened in the offseason in terms of figuring out a contract for him carrying over to the season. That would be pretty surprising to me. I mean, he's not that type of guy. We're moving forward. The rest of the team's moving forward, and haven't really seen any of those things lingering thus far in camp even.
Mike, I'm so curious because, we're on the outside looking in, and guys that played a big part of your success last season, Moses Moody, Podz, even Kuminga. For those guys to get to the next level, what does that look like in your mind, and how much of that is you telling them this is the direction or the way we think you should go?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just them continuing to be comfortable as players with their teammates, playing with Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, those guys. There's not a whole lot for me to say specifically. I mean, we're constantly talking to them about, their player development goals and things like that. But these guys are smart players. They're figuring it out. They're getting better. And if we can just continue that trajectory of having, better consistency, better efficiency, like all players in the, young players in the league, I think we'll be in good shape. I mean, as much as the Jimmy addition last year, specifically Jimmy was great for us. The thing that people don't talk about a ton is the way that BP, Moses, QP, those guys really stepped up. Obviously, JK when he got back from his ankle injury and in the playoffs, like our other players played really well too, our young guys. So we're excited about that. We think they can take that next step or whatever it needs to be, and we'll just see how it goes.
Let me ask you a little bit about Steve Kerr. I know a few years back he went into the season and his contract was up at the end of the season, and we asked about it, and he said no big deal. And then I believe it was February you guys announced his extension, so it turned out to not be a big deal. But it's just kind of hard to not notice that Steve's up at the end of this year, but the big three are up at the end of next year. Like, is there some uncertainty about next year with Steve Kerr?
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically there is. I wouldn't really classify it as that. I mean, this isn't like a regular situation with the head coach where he's in the last year of his deal and it's maybe a lame duck situation. We know what it is with Steve. He's been here a long time. He's been an amazing part of this franchise, and as far as I'm concerned, can stay as long as he wants. We're going to give him the grace of the season and to get through it or to go through it, some of it. But it's hard to see Steve moving on or to see Steph finishing his career without Steve on the sidelines. So I think it'll all work out, but we're not going to jump into anything. We're going to go on Steve's terms. And, right now he just kind of, I think, wants to take it and see how the season goes, and no problem on our end.
Mike, you mentioned Steph, and all of Dub Nation is, wanting to know what's a reasonable expectation, from the chef, specifically at age 38.
Yeah, I mean, what's to say this guy's going to slow down? I mean, I think people have been predicting a fall off the last 3 or 4 seasons, and he hasn't done that. So we're expecting more of the same. We don't take it for granted, that's for sure. But the way this guy takes care of himself, his skill level, his dedication and passion for the game, we think he's got at least another year, 2, 3, whatever it may be in him. Certainly this year, though.
We had a long and spirited conversation yesterday about Brandon Podziemski, and he told Nick Friedel, he wants to be here. He wants to be part of that next generation of Warriors. He wants to, take the keys from Steph and Jimmy and Draymond. And some of the reaction was a little bit surprising, kind of like, relax, Brandon, there's plenty of time for that. Where are you guys in terms of your view on Brandon Podziemski as an organization and, just his gung-ho attitude about wanting to be here? Do you ever have to tell him, settle down a little bit? It'll all come to you.
Yeah, I think we like his ambition overall, right?
That's what I'm asking.
Kind of part of the reason that makes him good. Yeah, I mean, he believes in himself. He goes out there and shows it every night. And so on the whole, I like to see that. And as far as the future goes, it's so much of it is hard. It's so hard to predict. I think from his standpoint or any of our young players' standpoint, who knows how good these guys are going to be, and we'll see where the chips fall. But we love having BP. He's been an integral part of our team the last couple of years, as has some of these other young guys that we've drafted in the first round, second round, picked up undrafted, whatever it may be. We feel good about our young group, and but who knows, like 5 years from now, what any of this is going to look like. So we just want to focus on this year, putting together the best team we can do. And, we'll kind of cross the bridge of everything else as it goes.
I love it. Mike, I got to give you some love, and it goes back to last year because, you were a champion to bring Jimmy in here. You played with him. You brought him in here. Amazing returns early. Were you shocked that, it happened so quick? And also, what can we expect as Warrior fans with a whole year of Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, I thought I didn't really have a amount of wins or record in mind once we acquired Jimmy. I think the main thing was, like, I think this guy can get us into the postseason and give us a chance. And as many games as we won, we were still in the play-in. We were the 7th seed, but we advanced, and we advanced in the first round. And then obviously Steph had his injury, but we're excited about a full year with Jimmy. 82 games. He's come in incredibly motivated, in great shape. And it's just nice going into the season knowing we have a sort of a pecking order with our roster, with Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, so on and so forth. So we really like this team, and just really excited to have Jimmy 82 this season.